It was around 1610 when an English ship arrives to America, and the idea of the first English settlers were looking for gold, gems, wood, and things like that, but they were not well prepared.
Because at the end they didn't found any gold, and it was really difficult for them to live in this land, and so this was the reason because of many of them had to leave North America, but one of them, John Rolfe, it was a very brave man, so he decided to stay in North America.
Famous because of John was an entrepreneur, and he still seeds from the or traffic illegals with seeds of the tobacco, and
it was a really good opportunity for him because he started to plant tobacco in North America, and it was really good idea because English people was really addicted to the tobacco.
And also the business brings news about slaves that came from Africa, and also after a couple of years, even the slaves became landlords.
So that was a great time, and we call that a boom town. Okay.
Well, if I'm not wrong, at the very beginning he was rebels, but at the end he started to live together, and in fact John Rolfe married Pocahontas, the daughter of the king of this tribe, and they resolved the problem that they have.
So my takeaway from Jamestown is that things not always happens as you plan, so it's very important to be flexible and to change your plans as fast as you can, because it's the only way you can succeed.
No.
So the Pilgrims, they are really religious Christians, and they left England to come to the New World, to America, looking for freedom to practice their religion and to build a colony, like a group of people with the same beliefs. So they arrived with the Mayflower. They were here, and nothing that they would plant would grow. So they were starving, and no hope, and dying. And in return, the Pilgrims helped them with a rival tribe, because the Pilgrims, they had guns, and they had different knowledge, like battle knowledge, war, I don't know if war, but they killed and invade the other Indians' territory, like, and then they were kind of together, like happy, and the result was the first Thanksgiving, a big feast with fish and turkey, I think.
I take away from this Plymouth story that we always have something to learn with the other people, you know. So as those pilgrims learned with the Indians how to deal with that land, we must stay humble and learn with another people things that sometimes we don't know.
Flew to the colonies. That started after the first Thanksgiving. At that moment, they have a big period of peace, so the people from Europe start to came to America. A lot of different people from every place: Sweden, German people, Dutch, Irish. They came to the New World because they have a lot of big expectations about get rich, have a better life. In the New World, they don't have a lot of disease or a lot of the problems they have in other places. They get twice tall, twice healthy, twice opportunity to be rich and successful. That's why how all these brave people started the first 13 colonies in America.
When many families decide to come to America, they take a risk to have a better life. So my takeaway is you must have to take risks to be successful.
Okay, so 7 generations after the first settlers arrived to North America, Boston became a very important city for the global trade and commerce. So, but the problem was that the people didn't want to pay taxes to a king who is far away, and to a parliament in which they don't even have any representation. Because of that, the king sent 4,000 redcoats to enforce his laws and to keep the city under control. 1770, the lot of people who lost their job, they gathered on the streets to protest. The British soldiers killed 5 of them. A man called Paul Revere was a successful businessman in Boston at that moment. He made a picture about the incident. That incident was called the Boston Massacre. He used that picture to distribute the information, to tell everyone what the British soldiers did. The news spread fast because a new communication system between the 13 colonies. So now soon everybody in America knows about the Boston Massacre, even before in England. Another important fact was the protest against English about taxes on tea. The rebels dumped over 1 million worth of tea into Boston Harbor. The British responded by shutting down the Boston Harbor, and now a lot of people lose their job. It's also affecting to the poor people. Before it was the rich people, the businessmen. This fact made the people really upset, and then is when the rebellion started.
Yeah, my takeaway from Boston Rebellion is the power of communication. Information got people together. At the time, newspaper delivery system was spread information, so it's made a movement. It has changed American history. So information is important all the time.
Was in September 5th, 1774 in Philadelphia. Normally we just know Philadelphia from Philadelphia cheese, but now, please, First Continental Congress. They met all together and they said, we are Americans. That's the main thing. They felt really united. And the militia started to fight against the redcoats. Now we have this important battle in Lexington, where the militia had only 60 men and the English, they had 900. They were really tired after the battle and they had to walk to Boston. Meanwhile, the militia, they built 1,000 people. Men were standing there hidden. Behind every tree there was a militiaman, and they killed 30% of the English. So one reason why the militia really won was because they had a different technique. They did really guerrilla fight, and the British soldiers were not used to that. So that was the beginning of the revolution.
Well, my takeout of the revolution was the way the Americans fought against British. It was the perfect example to show how people need to believe in their goals. That applies for any type of goals. It doesn't have to be related to a fight or a battle against someone else. It could be if you want a dream to come true, and so picture your dream and believe in it.